Hey, I'm Chris Miglino. I am at LD Micro Conference in Los Angeles. I'm here with Paul Romness from Therapies, OSTX on the New York American, right?
Yep.
And brand new, just went public recently. And these guys are doing something that all of us hope we never need to deal with. They are creating pharma technology to help children with cancer. So it's a noble job, one that I wish that nobody needed to do, but I'm glad that there is somebody doing. Tell us about the business and what you guys are doing.
Well, we actually got into this, Chris, because my daughter's best friend was diagnosed.
So I'm sorry to hear that.
She's doing great. I always ruined the suspense by saying that she's 7 years cancer-free now. She's on our board of directors.
Great.
As a 24-year-old, which is pretty cool. But about half the kids that get osteosarcoma pass away of bone cancer. It's a very deadly cancer. And as you said, we just went public August 1st. We just finished our clinical trial on osteosarcoma. We'll be submitting that to the FDA. And if we get approval for that, which I think we will, we get a priority review voucher. New Day, Day One Bio, Dawn, just sold their priority review voucher last month for $158 million.
Wow.
And then commercially, we pivot from osteosarcoma to other solid tumors like breast cancer that still have over 40,000 people a year dying of breast cancer, colorectal cancer, esophageal cancer. All really, the solid tumors are still very deadly disease.
So what happens in this cancer? What happens to a child when they get this cancer?
Sure. So it usually happens in teenagers when the bone plates of the long bones, so the distal femur, proximal tibia, proximal humerus, there's a bone plate that comes together after puberty. And there's some miscalculation in about 1,000 kids a year in the United States, 20,000 kids a year globally. It also happens in dogs. It's the number one killer of dogs.
Interesting.
By disease, especially the larger the dog. Osteosarcoma is very prevalent. Over 30 to 40,000 dogs a year in the United States get osteosarcoma. But back to the kids, they resect the cancer. They blast the body with chemo. Just like any other solid tumor, breast cancer, you remove the cancer, blast the body with chemo. And if the cancer doesn't come back, you live the rest of your life with the side effects of the chemo and the surgery, etc. But if it comes back, it's because these little micrometastases, what we call cancer seeds, that survive the chemo and radiation, they're looking for two things, oxygen and soft tissue. And where better to get that than the lungs and the brain? So these little micrometastases that we actually have in us right now, our immune system identifies them and kills them because we have a healthy immune system. But these little micrometastases are looking to land in the lungs and the brain because they're looking to get oxygen and soft tissue.
Interesting.
We fire up the immune system with attenuated or weakened listeria that goes out, tells the body to secrete T cells from your lymph nodes. Those lymph nodes go out and find these little micrometastases and munch on them. They do hand-to-hand combat. They slice them up and kill these micrometastases before they land and they've metastasized.
Interesting. Well, and how many kids have gone through the trials?
So we just finished the trial on October 1st. The 41st patient received his or her last dose. That data is now being calculated. It will be submitted to the FDA. We already have fast track, orphan, rare, and pediatric disease designation. We're looking for breakthrough designation and a conditional approval on the event-free survival data that we published in June and then enhanced back about a month and a half ago. That's all in press releases.
So what was the survival rate of the people that went through the trials?
So survival's a little further out. That's usually a 3-year measurement. So we've got some initial data on that. And our overall survival that we published in June at ASCO was over 90% for a year and a half. That usually is around 70% in these patients. So significant improvement. But the event-free survival was up to about 32.5%. And we think the real data is at about 8 to 13%. So we think the event-free survival, which means the metastases did not come back to the lungs, is around 3-fold better. And the incredible thing is our side effects for the therapy are very minimal. It's chills and slight fever, which means your immune system's getting fired up, which is what we wanted.
Right.
But other than that, not a lot of side effects.
What do kids that get this now do? What's the
9 months of chemo and radiation.
and how long is yours to take?
It's for a year, but they get a treatment every 3 weeks. But it's very
less invasive.
much less invasive.
Okay.
The 9 months of chemo for these kids is considered the worst regimen in cancer. Doxorubicin, methotrexate, and cisplatin for 9 months.
And they got to stay in the hospital during that time?
A lot of the times they do, and about 10% of the kids pass away from just the chemo.
Wow.
But we think that if it works in osteosarcoma, it should work in breast cancer and other HER2 cancers that use Herceptin or trastuzumab, which is it keeps the cancer down, but it doesn't kill it. Our therapy comes in and kills it. So we could add that. Once we're approved for osteosarcoma, it'd be a lot easier to do a clinical trial with Herceptin to make Herceptin or trastuzumab work better, but also to prevent resistance of trastuzumab, which we think will significantly increase survival in those other solid tumors.
What's the next big thing that investors should be looking for? Like, what's the next big threshold?
We've got 2 or 3 very soon milestones. One would be out licensing the canine indication, because we want a company that has the reach to get to those 40,000 dogs a year in the United States, and then globally. We're not the only country that loves their dogs.
Yeah.
Right? And then we're looking for a partner ex-US to commercialize. We're very comfortable commercializing the human because there are only 1,000 cases. We just finished a clinical trial at a top 20 facilities across the country. So we already have the clinicians who are used to using our therapy. So we could commercialize that ourselves, but we are looking for an ex-US partner. And then if we get approval from the FDA, we get that priority review voucher, which is, the last one went for $158 million of non-diluted funds. And then we also have another platform technology. If you follow the biotech space over the last 18, 24 months, the big deals are in ADCs, antibody-drug conjugates. It's basically a micro-delivery system of chemotherapies, monoclonal antibodies. Our special sauce is we wrap that payload with silicone. As you know, in industrial uses, Chris, silicone doesn't get broken down by proteins or water. It's water insoluble. So we protect the payload. And then the weak link in all these other ADCs is the linker. We can dial in with that linker, and that coating comes off by dialing in the pH level. Turns out cancer environments have a lower pH, higher acidity. So we deliver the package to the cancer. The cancer acidity eats away at the linker, drops the payload, eats away at the coating, and then that chemotherapy or the monoclonal antibody or whatever that payload goes active in the cancer environment, thus not trash in the body as it's getting to the payload.
And is there a time that this could move to adults as well, or is it always going to be kids?
Absolutely. And the reason I brought up Day One Bio, they have a very similar model to this. They started with a rare disease, and then they have ADCs and other technologies. Their valuation last week was $1.46 billion. We're at $60 million around. We're at about $3 a share. We're a good deal.
Let's hope you get there.
We're a good deal.
Well, you're doing something that's good for the world, so I appreciate you. Appreciate you doing that. I wish you the best of luck, and keep your eye on it. If you guys are interested, OSTX on the American New York Stock Exchange, and keep track of the good work that these guys are doing around pediatric cancer for children. OS Therapies. Keep your eye on it. So thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.